Now from Marxism and hegemony. And first, I want to clear up a couple of things. One, when we think of Marxism, we instantly think of communism, right? You think of Animal Farm and stuff like that. But in reality, Marxism is just a way of seeing the world. It's a way of seeing the world as always being between class conflict. Everything, right? Everything in the world is about class conflict, about the proletariat, who are the workers, who are always going to be fighting against and exploited by the bourgeoisie until they tear them down, take the means of production, so they take ownership of all the work, and they establish what he calls the dictator of the proletariat. So basically, the workers start to run the world. They throw out all of the rich people, right? Take their money, redistribute it equally, and that's when you start getting to the Animal Farm part, which we'll talk about in a second. But I also want to clear up another thing is about he, what gives something value. Marx would say is not supply and demand, anything like that. Is like you have a piece of wood. That wood doesn't have any value. All of a sudden, a worker carves it into something that gives it value. So really, where value comes from is the worker's labor, and that's being stolen by the bourgeoisie, by the capitalists, because they don't do anything. They just profit off of the worker's labor. So that's why he calls capitalist theft, right? My cat is showing up. Um, and so that capital as theft, right? That's kind of an interesting idea because he says that they bourgeoisie they don't produce anything, and in fact they steal it from the workers, which causes an alienation, a separation from your work. Now Marx always thought that capitalism would get so bad that it would eventually collapse in on itself and lead to communism naturally, um, but that didn't happen, and then it kept not happening, and the people wondered, other than the Soviet Union and a few other places, why didn't this happen? And that's where Gramsci comes in, which is the idea of hegemony, which is basically the powerful create ideas to keep them in power. How do you get slave owners to maintain power? We'll create ideas about whiteness that will benefit uh, poor whites, so they'll side with them instead of their class interest. Or Republicans right now, some of the like poor Republicans, why vote for tax breaks? Well, right, the hegemony, the ideas make them think that. And I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, I had to read The Fountainhead. You in high school have to read um, Animal Farm, right? That's hegemony. That's powerful ideas from the ruling elites, taking books that are on the critique collectivism, things like that, and then they use that to teach it to you. So then you um, go, oh well, communism must be bad, right? And so that whole Animal Farm, right? That's a part of hegemony, right? The people in power, people who right use things like education, media, all that stuff to then disseminate their ideas, and that way they can stop like a worker revolution. Um, if you want to see interesting thing like the social distancing and the quarantine, can kind of be think of an example of communism, right? If the people going out and protesting to open up the economy, if that's Ayn Rand neoliberalism, right? Don't regulate me. Subsuming yourself, like putting the state above you, sacrificing your own well-being or happiness or whatever in order to benefit the greater amount of good, right? That could be kind of like that's kind of a communist mindset, whereas the other ones you see that more neoliberal mindset.